Good morning, everyone, and happy Tuesday. You've tuned into the Witty Chatterbots show, Women in Tech, empowering everyone. Please hashtag us, #Witty, WITEE. We're coming to you live from 27 Boxes in Melville, which is really quite cool. 27 Boxes is done to enhance the lives of the community, and we're doing this show to do exactly the same.
Woohoo!
I'm Jessica McIndoe, lover of social media, and my partner in crime, Carmen Murray, is an inspirational tech visionary, and our aim is to keep you abreast of the latest and greatest trends. We want to share case studies and interview movers and shakers. We've got someone very exciting today who will give you inside insights, and we want to set your brand up for success. Our theme for today as well, think big, believe big, act big, and the results will be big.
Morning, everybody. Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. So we both attended the Social Media Landscape event last week, and we are honored to unpack the exciting insights this morning with Elizabeth Lee, who was the panel leader with some proudly SA brands. Welcome, Liz. Awesome to have you here with us.
Thanks, ladies. Great to be here.
All the way from Pretoria.
I did. I commuted like a good eco warrior that I am.
Exactly. You're a warrior in many, many ways. I think we need to come for some classes. Anyway, everyone, get ready to hear about this Wonder Woman's achievements. Wowzers. Okay, so Liz is an international keynote speaker. She's an award-winning judge. In fact, she will represent South Africa as a judge in New Orleans for the DMA Global Echo Awards. Tell us more.
I am very, very honored, ladies, to be chosen as one of the 240 judges.
Wow.
That represent a global group and panel of judging that takes place for the DMA Echo Awards. And it's really, really exciting. We even have a South African entrant that is one of the finalists, and it's actually Mobitainment. So very, very excited about that. Very excited not only to represent South Africa on such a very prestigious panel, but also hopefully to be accepting the award on behalf of Mobitainment should they be announced as a winner on the evening. So exciting on all fronts. Great to be flying the South African flag really, really high, and certainly to be part of a great and incredible panel of judges that are represented from all over the world.
Amazing stuff. Just to put it in perspective, because this is a passion baby, is the Mobitainment Award that's been shortlisted is actually for Ariel and making the impossible possible. So very exciting stuff. Now, moving on to this. Now, Liz, seriously, I do not know where you get the time in the day to do all of these jobs that you do. So you are the Chief Disruption Officer at TBWA Africa. In addition to this role, you head up Hello Digital, which is a digital consulting firm helping clients to grow, acquire, and retain their clients and supporting their digital transformation, which is quite an important thing in today's time and age. Then also, you've partnered with Ornico to provide key learnings and insights to clients based on their industry competitors, which another disruptive model as an anthropologist. Tell us more.
So I think I have adult ADHD, so I'm continuously busy and love and just so passionate about what I do. And I just feel that we're living at such an incredible point in our lives.
Absolutely.
We're moving at the speed of culture. We're able to literally accelerate not only our learning but our access to information. So for me, it's just about embracing the incredible opportunities, being able to not only share a lot of the wisdom and knowledge and key insights that I've picked up, certainly from working with a lot of clients, but also to embrace and empower and enable other organizations in terms of what they can do, and not to be afraid about social media and what it represents to you. But we've got this incredible platform that all of a sudden allows us to connect at this massive scale with so many people and build really authentic relationships. And it's things that I'm super passionate about. So they say if you're passionate about something, you always find the time, in addition to having a full-time family as well and husband and kids. But I really am so blessed because I not only get to do what I love and get to do it so often, but I get to do it for others as well, which is great.
We really look up to you.
Oh, thanks.
So yeah, no, I mean, like, you've covered everything from entertainment, telecommunications, financial services. Oh my gosh, where does it end? Motoring, petroleum, which is quite a man's world, if I might add. But furthermore, I think the thing that really enlightened us is the fact that you have this amazing quote that you see yourself as a social behavioural scientist at heart and passionate about social CRM. So maybe you can elaborate a little bit more on that.
Sure, no problem. So I've always been a behaviorist at heart. So I'm one of those people that is fascinated by human behavior. I'm the one that sits in coffee shops and observes everybody. And I'm just absolutely fascinated. Yes, exactly. People watching all the time. But I think what social gives us is it gives us this opportunity to be quite voyeuristic. But for me, what I love is it gives us the opportunity to learn so much. So I always tell my teams, community managers are my absolute favorite people in the whole world. They get to listen, they get to engage, they get to understand, and they get to speak back on behalf of brands on platforms where people are being themselves, which is exciting.
Yeah.
And I think for the first time, I think when social hit, I was one of the very early adopters, and for me it was like, wow, it's amazing. I finally have a platform where I can be heard and actually have an impact. This is amazing. You know, like standing on my soapbox. Now I had the proverbial digital soapbox, which was really, really exciting. And I think it's really just grown from there. My passion and my love has just grown from that. And more than anything, it's about the fact that people are able to speak back. And you've got these millions and billions of connections that people can have, not only with each other, but with brands. And then just understanding what people are saying, why they're saying it, what motivates them, what makes them tick, what are they passionate about, where are the pain points.
Yeah.
And I think in the work that I've been able to do in this line has been being able to track and manage and monitor the type of behavior and the sentiment, as they call it, sentiment analysis, but being able to understand what people are saying and then to almost, I've always been a futurist at heart as well. So being able to almost preempt what people are going to say or do or where things are going to happen as a result. And it's really just being able to get into what we call that zeitgeist of people and being able to move at the speed of culture, where understanding what people are saying, what are they doing, where are those key pain points of what is happening, and ultimately what are people going to do about it. And for me, the exciting part and that exciting that point of intersect is where brands are able to do something about it, something meaningful, something that's going to either build their brand and grow their brand equity or ultimately erode from their brand. And it's what I love about the work that I'm able to do is to really support and help brands in understanding what it means for them and ultimately what they can do about it.
Awesome. I completely agree with you as well. I was also one of those first people and was like, yay, I can talk somewhere.
Exactly. And someone's actually going to listen and maybe respond.
The days that follow Friday. We're a bit more advanced now.
Yes, absolutely. We did all of that, yes. Every day had a name and a campaign built around it. So thank God we've moved beyond that and beyond all the warm-up days. Yes. Celebrating Mother's Day and all those days on social media, we've moved on.
We have. Which I think really leads me into, we said we went to the event last week and I really, really enjoyed your panel. I mean, we both chatted about it afterwards.
Great.
We went and trolled some of the tweets as well. So I'll ask you some questions on there. But I think really looking at when the social media landscape first started and we were just wetting our feet as brands, the movement that's happened I found really, really interesting. I mean, I was quite surprised because we know they actually do the 118 brands for the actual research, that it was less than 2% that actually are using social media. I'm sure they'll wake up. Not using social.
Not using social, correct. Yeah, so 98% are all on social media, which I think is significant as well, especially if we look at, if I just reflect on the work that I've done with clients and the journey that we've really taken clients on. I think there's a couple of things, Jess. The first one is, great, clients are on social media. I think it's still a scary beast out there. Like, what do we do on it? Like, how do we get on it? What if people actually talk back to us? Like, oh, God forbid.
Oh, exactly.
What are we going to do about it? But the fact that 2% is still off, I think it's quite significant for South Africa. But I still find, despite that, in 2017, you're still finding brands that don't actually know what to do on social.
Agreed. Because one of the stats that came out, which I saw, there was quite a bit of a decline. Well, not too much of a decline, but there were between B2C and B2B companies that they'd actually dropped down with saying that they had a strategy. B2B had grown, but B2C hadn't, which I found quite scary because, like you said, when somebody talks to brand, you need to be prepared and everything should be there for a reason. And what I also found interesting as well is where we looked at the stats. So 3 years ago, it was all about the data. Then we all saw there was so much data we didn't know what to do with it.
Yes.
And then year on year, we're still going to be looking at investing in our multimedia content, so our videos and our podcasts and putting the content out there. And then also the analytics. So I think we're shifting within the market to really understand that conversation that's going on. And like you said before, what actually makes people tick.
No, absolutely. So definitely, Jess, I think there's, I think we've been having the data conversation for a very, very long time as well. So it's not a question about that we're creating billions of data points at every single interaction, but it's about what can a brand or an organization do with these data points? Like what should we be looking out for? What are the points that are actually going to be meaningful? Because there's so much data out there, like you can't deal with all of it. There's artificial intelligence as well. So through things and programs like Watson, what does that mean for your organization? How can that empower and enable the work that you're doing to really ultimately what you want to be doing is to build and grow more meaningful and authentic relationships with your brand, to identify where the pain points are, and then ultimately to go out and help and solve for those problems as quickly as possible.
Correct.
So just manage your brand equity as best as possible. And that requires being able to effectively listen and understand what people are saying, and then ultimately being able to respond, but ultimately to take that insight and intelligence back into your organization and to do something with it.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So if I might just add to that, something that's absolutely paramount is that if you have all of these data points and you've got social listening and all of these things happening, you're learning about the consumer's online behavior, but we also need to understand what the offline behavior is, what's happening on the ground, and merge those data sets to help us with our customer journeys and how we actually engage with our consumers.
No, completely. And I think like taking all of that into account and where we are headed and how important it is for brand, like the tea lady can break your brand now. We talked about that last week. Is really one of the things that I was quite surprised about was that they said that 50% of the companies believed that they didn't actually have the skill sets that they needed, and they really need to invest within the people. So there's a big shift where brands are now going to be investing in people, so that this tool that we all were excited about way back when, it's an actual business tool that we can utilize to understand our customers a bit better.
Absolutely. So I think brands are realizing the power thereof, and there's so many examples of that. Spur, was a recent example thereof. Another radio station as well, maybe not an online radio station. So there certainly are a lot of examples where the power of social media and people are starting to leverage that, and that for me is what is so exciting. And I think one of the reasons why I actually started Hello Digital and have really positioned it as a strategic digital consulting firm is for that exact reason. It's before you get onto social media, you need a strategy. It was quite disconcerting to see that in the results that came out that so few companies do have a social strategy and have it focused. And ultimately, your social strategy needs to plug into your digital strategy, which needs to deliver on what your overall business strategy is. And that takes some very deliberate planning, some very deliberate thinking about what it is that you're going to do, and ultimately what do you want to represent in social and how you're going to respond and react. And I think that's one of the key learnings for brands moving into social media is step one, start with a strategy. I think that's absolutely paramount.
Agreed.
And then being able to understand, well, now that I have a strategy, what is it that we need to do? So a lot of the work that we do is about providing that support that you say, Jess, where companies don't have the skills in-house. And how do you scale at a pace that we're moving in a way that is agile enough and rapidly enough that allows you to be competitive, to maintain the status quo, to still, deal with all the competition that's coming at you across all your verticals, and even outside of that allows you to ultimately maintain a competitive edge and, deal with everything that is coming at you. And I think that's one of the key gaps we certainly look to try and fill with the company as well.
Awesome. No, well, that's like a whole load of insights. I believe that we're going to be going to a little break now so we can have a sip of water and catch our breaths because we love to talk about this stuff.
Oh my gosh, I wish we had more time. Okay, over to you.
brandlive.co.za.
Have you ever thought about the power of social media? Social media has the power to make your business grow. Yeah. Why don't you let us manage your social media? Because our business is to see your business grow. Visit us at www.beastdownmedia.co.za.
Making a bold statement yet blending into the surrounding suburbs of Melville, 27 Boxes is a realization of edgy design and practical implementation. A radical departure from the shopping malls of our generation, yet not a return to the high streets of our youth. 27 Boxes showcases the best of a shopping centre set in a garden, surrounded by the bohemian suburb that is Melville. 27 Boxes, shop, play, eat.
You're listening to brandlive.co.za.
Well, welcome back, everybody. We're sitting here with Elizabeth, and we've been chatting social.
Being social.
Social, yes. We're very social beings.
Very sociable, yes.
We are lions.
Yeah, and I think now that we've kind of come back, I think really one of the standouts when we went to the social media landscape was there was a big chat around AI and messaging and WhatsApp, and basically where we've been broadcasting, and now we're coming to sort of close-knit communities. And according to Mark Zuckerberg, messaging is one of the few things that people do more than social networking. Can you believe it? So maybe if you can just share your thoughts on, what's going on the messaging front.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jess. So for me, super excited. I think, again, to the point that Mark Zuckerberg was making, it's our very natural way that we communicate. Mm-hmm. And being able to interact on a one-to-one basis is definitely our preference. So I definitely foresee that messaging apps are going to certainly grow. It's no coincidence that Mark Zuckerberg has certainly invested so heavily in Messenger on the Facebook platform and that full integration. And what is exciting is that Facebook provides you with so many APIs where you can build the integration that allows you to actually mass communicate using Messenger. So for me, that's really exciting. I think the opportunity that AI presents and represents, certainly for someone like me that is a behavioral scientist, is massive, because what it does is it allows you to build the depth of the intelligence and the insights into your algorithm that allows you to actually then apply machine learning into every single interaction. And I start getting very, very excited about this. Like, talk dirty to me, like talk dirty data to me, algorithms and intersects and all fun things like that. So I get quite a little bit excited, a little bit hot under the collar when we talk and use words like that, because it's just the amount of empowerment and enablement and insights that you're going to be provided with as a brand is phenomenal, and it's going to allow you to move into things like propensity modeling, predictive modeling, and being able to be much more proactive and ultimately do what you want to do as a brand, which is really to own that customer relationship. And the brands that are able to own those customer relationships are ultimately the brands that are going to survive and thrive going forward.
Yeah. And also something that I would like to add is that, businesses that really has to think about how they put their resources towards, chatbots and having one-to-one conversations with their consumers. According to Business Insider, 80% of companies want to integrate chatbots into their strategy by 2020. And one thing that there's the linear conversations that you can have out of the chatbot, which is ask a question, answer it, vice versa, almost like a virtual assistant. But then there's also the form of machine learning and intelligence where it can pick up the tone of your voice and know that you're in a very upset mood and adapt the tone and emotional intelligence as it's communicating back to the consumer.
Absolutely.
What are your thoughts, and how do you think that this is progressing within South Africa?
So I think the applications are endless. And one of the forums that I was actually invited to was at IBM, where they shared a case study of how they utilized AI through a health practitioner that would be able to do self-care with you at home, and did exactly that. That full integration allowed them to pick up on your mood, if you responded too quickly, if you were angry. It was really quite fun. It was a great demonstration of this full integration that became an extension of this ability that the company was able to provide to you, and to almost get a diagnosis up front before taking it further. And I think the power of that is going to be something phenomenal. I think the opportunity is huge. The other example that I like to use is the one of Knorr, of what's for dinner and the application that they've used on that in terms of really just understanding meal times. And I think that is such a sacred opportunity where they've been able to simplify and make it much easier for families, working parents like ourselves. But for me, what was quite interesting is that it's still a missed opportunity within South Africa. So I get excited because I judge quite a lot of awards. I judged the Smarties Awards recently, the Echo Awards as well, guys. But for me, being able to see where brands are really pushing the envelope with this new technology and what they're able to do. And I was a little disappointed with Knorr because I felt that they had such a great opportunity to integrate much more in terms of understanding behavior, but they didn't quite do that. So it became something that was quite superficial. The algorithm was very, very basic. It was very standard. And I think the opportunity is to really again, mine those insights much more, understand what people are doing on social, and then use that and build that into something that you're doing. Because the other challenge that you've got is with all this incredible technology, you've got consumers like me, and I'm sure you ladies are too, that are quite, what's the word, not very forgiving with brands that do something and don't do it as successfully as they really can.
And progress.
So, exactly. So we're looking for that progressiveness. We're looking for, and the challenge that these technologies also present to brands is that it creates a hyper expectation with consumers. So now all of a sudden, because I can talk back to you, I expect you to know everything. So now if you've got purely an algorithm that is built on an Excel spreadsheet that has a very limited bandwidth around what it can respond to, I'm going to get frustrated, and that's going to do more damage to your brand than good. That's why the point that you're making, Carmen, is about which point do you divert a chatbot to a human interface.
Correct.
Because ultimately humans are still best equipped, hopefully, with empathy, etc.
How long is the question?
Exactly. But to pick up on those nuances and to understand this is the point that we need to intervene and get involved. And I think that's going to be quite a defining factor for brands going forward in terms of not only being able to leverage off this new technology, but how do they integrate it into their existing way of work, and how does it really provide them with the best benefit that they need.
And if I can just, sorry Jess, I'm hijacking this conversation. Like it's passionate.
Tweet you later.
Oh my God. Okay, but also we're at the fourth technology transformation, which means it's all going to be about VR, AR, AI, etc. So I do think that brands need to start keeping their eye on the ball. Although the technology hasn't evolved to that extent, we need to pay attention to it and improve and progress forward, because this is going to become a underpinning technology that is going to rule the world going forward. So we definitely need to pay attention to that.
Absolutely.
No, agreed. And one thing that I'd put in that I wanted to actually just have a chat with you about is one of your tweets. You'd said that 2018 was the year of partnership with brands and agencies, and it was the learning and sharing economy. Can you just explain a little bit more what you mean by this whole sharing economy? Absolutely.
So for me, it's an interesting space. I've worked both client and agency side, and I quite like the fact that just at the pace that we're moving, Jess, I think one of the key successes are going to be around co-ownership and around partnerships. So it's about how do we, as an agency, as an example, become an extension of your team through a really successful partnership where we're able to understand what it is that you need as a brand. How do we immerse ourselves in what those learnings are and what those requirements are? But how do we allow you to really focus on your knitting and your specialization so that we can focus on our specialization? I just think that in the space that we're in at the moment, we are moving at such a significant pace that is going to be impossible to do it alone. So there's an old adage, a very old quote and an old saying that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, then go together. And I think for me, that's what I get very excited about. I think not only in the work that I'm able to do within an agency, within a massive global agency, but also within my own consulting firm, it's about how do you find those appropriate partnerships and with those clients that you can ultimately partner with and who also understand that it is a partnership. It's not, it's not a competition between you. It's, it's a competition outside of you, but within your organization, within the companies you've chosen to partner with, it's very much about how do we focus on what it is that we want to achieve. I talk about my team gets so angry because I always tell them it's about focusing on the princess. Keep your eye on the princess, like in Walt Disney. Keep your eye on the princess and do what it takes to get there. And you have to do it together ultimately.
No,
Fantastic. I actually wanted just to add to that. Cannes Lions, they did a little of a data science exercise, I think it's the year before, on all of the campaigns that go through and win all of these awards, which we usually see from Australia and New Zealand. And through that 13 years of data, they actually found the reason these clients are always winning awards was because they are collaborating and they stick with one particular agency for more than 10 years. So it's also important that brands and agencies collaborate but build these strong relationships and fortify them to get to know each other and to drive the business forward.
Absolutely. Maybe just a last quick point. I know we're down to like 30 seconds.
Yeah, you're trying to escape the question.
Exactly, I am. I'm desperately trying to escape those 30-second questions you ladies are going to ask me. Oh my God, damn it, those things make me sweat. So it's to say that there is so much information out there and so many different things. So you've got AI, you've got AR, you've got data, you've got, community management. There's so much involved in how you do your integrated marketing approach nowadays. It's virtually impossible to expect that one person or even one agency can help you do everything. And that's why partnerships are going to become so much more important. And agencies that specialize in very specific things going forward is going to really be successful.
Fantastic. So on that and partnering, let everyone know how they can get hold of you.
I'm sure they have a lot of questions for you. Oh my goodness.
Sure, no problem. So the best way to reach me is probably through social media. So I'm really active. So on LinkedIn, you can reach out to me at any time on LinkedIn. I'm probably not going to give out my mobile number. But very happy if you reach out to me on LinkedIn. You can send me a message or certainly send me a connect, an invite to connect. I'd be more than happy to not only answer more questions, but certainly to come out and also provide additional information. It's something that we're actually doing together. I'm doing in partnership with Ornico. We are going to go out to brands and present not only the learnings from the social media landscape research, but also provide you with insights on how you can apply this to your brand.
Fantastic. That's awesome. We're booking that with you, okay?
Excellent.
And then also, how can people get support or access to the report?
Yes, so probably best also, if you wouldn't mind, reach out to me on LinkedIn. If you do book a session with us where we come and present to your organization, and it'll be specific to your category, to your industry, give you insights into what your competitors are doing, and certainly we will provide you with a copy of the report as well, which is extremely comprehensive. Or if you would just like the report, you can get hold of me or directly with Ornico as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, so you didn't get to get rid of it. We're going into the 30-second questions.
Okay.
Which is actually 1 minute because we're going to play it off 1 minute. So
Okay, great.
we've extended it with 30 seconds. Okay. Are we ready? Okay. Here is the little minute
timer.
timer. Okay. On your marks, get set, go. What kind of sickness have you lied about so you wouldn't go to work?
Maybe period pain? It would have been a woman. It would have been something related to the female anatomy.
If you had a brainwash machine, who would you use it on?
Sure. Probably my last boss.
Okay. What is the weirdest prank call you've ever made?
Sure. Who I don't remember prank calling anyone. Probably my husband.
If you had one question to ask Siri and she could find you the answer before you will be denied access to the internet for 5 years, what would it be?
Sure. Human enlightenment.
If you could turn any activity into an Olympic sport, what would you have a good chance at winning at?
Me? Sure. Probably not ice hockey, but maybe debating.
Debating, okay. Who has impressed you the most with what they accomplished?
Oh, I'd have to say, sure. I'd have to say, Sheryl Sandberg. The last answer.
And sorry, I have to put this one in. I know we've gone over 1 minute. But how many sneezes can you actually do during one presentation?
Jay, so many, honey, so many.
Bless you.
Oh, thank you. It's called a somatic marker.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, no, cool.
Awesome.
Well, I mean, we've come to the end, unfortunately. We always want more time.
Yeah.
But I think really key learnings, you said right in the beginning, it's authentic relationships, not only with brands and customers, with brands, agencies and partnerships with brands. And then really about not forgetting to who's going to buy into your products, learning about your digital natives, millennials that are coming in there, messaging apps continuing to surpass the social networks, chatbot messaging is the new customer service and getting the algorithms
Absolutely.
right. And really, it sounded very much around the whole innovation and moving forward.
Absolutely.
and
Disruption,
growing.
innovation, getting people to not be afraid of the technology, but also embracing it in a way that is sensible and deliberate.
Fantastic. Well, from the Witty Chatterbots, Carmen Murray,
And Jessica McIntyre.
join us next week, Tuesday at 10 o'clock. We have a very exciting guest joining us next week, soon to be revealed. Bye-bye, guys.
Cheers. Bye.
brandlive.co.za. Harnessing the power of talk radio. brandlive.co.za.